Gate of the Past. Author's note. The placement for this section is a bit nebulous. The Explorer's storyline reveals that the Gate of the Past has already been broken into, meaning that it has to take place before the Explorer section. Before the Destiny update, the Explorer storyline came directly after Xenon's story, and so I had decided to place this section between the two, even though it's possible that it could have taken place earlier. The revamped Explorer storyline now takes place well after Xenon's story, meaning that there is now a larger time frame in which this section could have been placed instead. Aside from the Explorer storyline, there aren't any proper indications for when this section specifically takes place. However, the events of this section, which involve Kristen attempting to revive the Black Mage, narratively flow well into the next section, part of which involves Arcarium attempting to break the seal on the Black Mage. Because of this, I'll be keeping this section in the same place as the pre-Destiny chronology, with the disclaimer that this isn't an absolute placement. Additionally, I won't be covering the cow quest here, as those quests need to be completed by the adversary, and not every class has had their class stories take place yet. Instead, I'll be grouping the cow quests with the 5th job advancement storyline later on. A traveler made their way into the Temple of Time and met the Temple Keeper, who explained that the temple was currently closed to the public, as an intruder had recently broken through the Gate of the Past. He told them that he wouldn't stop them if they chose to go anyways, though he added that time flowed backwards through the door, meaning that they would be sent backwards to their starting point without the blessing of the goddess Rhine. Though getting permission from the goddess was impossible, as she was asleep, the temple keeper told them that he could give them permission as the representative of the goddess. As the traveler seemed powerful, he struck a deal and offered to grant them permission in exchange for investigating the intruder. After the traveler accepted the offer, the temple keeper told them that he first needed to test their strength and asked them to defeat the monsters throughout Memory Lane. Along the path, they encountered Dodo, the Whale of Time, who consumed some of the travelers' memories. As this prevented them from proceeding any further into the temple keeper told them to see the Memory Keeper, who realized that Dodo had consumed their innocent, carefree memories of when they had just begun their journey. In order to retrieve them, he suggested that they speak with the one who had helped them at the start of their adventure. Author's note: for most classes, you'll need to see your first job instructor, although some classes just talk to themselves if they're boring and have no friends. After speaking with their mentor, the traveler returned to the Memory Keeper, who confirmed that their memories had returned. The Temple Keeper then gave them permission to go down the Road of Regrets. At the end of the path, they defeated Lilinouche, the Ice Knight, and received permission to proceed down the Road of Oblivion. However, they found the path blocked once again, and so they returned to the Temple Keeper. He explained that Lilinouche was fiercely loyal to Rhine, to the point that he had frozen his emotions so that the regret would never cause him to fail a mission. The Temple Keeper believed that Lilinouche must have frozen the traveler's emotions as well, and since those with frozen emotions could not feel regret, the Road of Regrets would not allow them to pass. He suggested that they visit the sorcerer, whose concoctions might be able to help them. The sorcerer sold them a potion that would thaw their emotions, though he charged them a hefty fee. After paying him, he gave them the potion and warned about its side effects. The traveler drank the potion, which immediately drained their health and mana. Author's note: that's putting it mildly, it basically kills you. After recovering, however, they found that their emotions had thawed, and so they proceeded down the Road of Oblivion. At the end of the road, they defeated Lyca, the guardian of the temple. The temple keeper then gave the traveler permission to go into the deepest part of the temple, but the traveler found that they could not pass. They asked the temple keeper whether their oblivion had been burned away by Lyca's flame, but the temple keeper told them that such a thing was impossible. he speculated that the only thing that could be wrong was that the goddess's promise had been broken and asked them to see the record keeper in order to determine whether the promise still held, explaining that they may need to wake Rhine from her sleep if it had been broken. Author's note: do these people even know that Rhine is trapped in the mirror world? They keep talking about her being perpetually asleep as though she's just in her bedroom waiting for her alarm to ring. The record keeper explained that long ago, the goddess had gifted humans with oblivion, the power to forget. He confirmed that the promise had not been broken, and that the traveler still having their oblivion was proof enough. Author's note: the Gate of the Past tells a pretty depressing story about the story of life. It starts out verdant and happy, as we make happy memories in our childhood. Over time, however, our emotions freeze up as we lose our youth and become consumed with regrets. In the end, we're overtaken by oblivion and forget everything in our old age. I was really creeped as a kid by how nihilistic it seemed, but as an adult, the concept of oblivion being the ability to forget now seems a lot less disturbing. From the context of the human life cycle, it's almost like the idea of reincarnation, in which you forget everything about your past life so that you can make new memories and make up for old regrets. Within the game, Within this game, cases like Lucia and Lania, or mortal transcendence like the Black Mage and Darmor, confirm that living things reincarnate in this game, making the Temple of Time story of life one about a cycle of rebirth rather than eternal damnation. Also, this is unrelated, but when the game calls the Black Mage or Darmor mortal, it means that they started out mortal at birth, but they still gain immortality upon awakening as transcendence. The record keeper speculated that there must be another force preventing the traveler from accessing the deepest parts of the temple, and sent them back to the temple keeper, believing that he would know what to do. After the traveler explained what had happened, the temple keeper speculated that the record keeper had been intentionally vague, since he was forbidden from sharing the secrets of history. He then concluded that the reason that the traveler could go no further was because the intruder had set up a barrier to prevent anyone from entering. He then asked the traveler to collect materials from the gate of the past in order to construct a marble of chaos, which could break the force field. After the traveler brought the materials, the temple keeper crafted the marble and explained that the barrier had been nullified, though he wondered what the intruder wished to do in the gate to the past. As the temple prevented the past from being changed, he then realized that the intruder could be trying to make the mirror of the goddess. He explained that the mirror could not be moved by humans, and that incorrect use of it would result in severe consequences. Because of this, he asked the traveler to stop the intruder at any cost. The traveler used the Marble of Chaos to enter the Dusk Temple in the Twilight of Gods, representing the earliest point of history. Author's note: the Dusk Temple is explained in Zero's storyline to be a domain of the old gods, where past transcendence of time before Rhine had made it their sanctum. There, the traveler found the intruder, Kristen, speaking aloud to himself that with the mirror of the goddess, he could summon the Black Mage. Just then, Kristen felt a strange energy emanating from the mirror, which he realized was completely different than that of the Black Mage. Out of the mirror, a powerful monster named Pink Bean appeared and caused the statues in the temple to attack the traveler. The traveler defeated the statues and then proceeded to fight Pink Bean. After a difficult battle, the traveler was able to force Pink Bean back into the mirror, though Kristen had managed to escape. Author's note: Pathfinder gets exclusive dialogue right before the fight in which she recognizes Kristen from the vision she had when she received her relic. After defeating Pink Bean, the traveler returned to the temple keeper, who was shocked by Kristen's audacity to use the mirror of the goddess. He explained that the mirror allowed one to physically move the past, but that only the goddess herself was capable of it. Nevertheless, he thanked the traveler for stopping Kristen. Author's note: when Pink Bean was first revealed as a class for April Fool's Day, his backstory was that both he and Black Bean were transcendents from Bean World, While none of this is canon, the fact that the Dusk Temple was said to be the home to past transcendence may imply that Pink Bean was once the transcendent of time before Rhyme. If so, it might explain why Kristen had summoned him, as he was hoping to revive the Black Mage, but accidentally summoned another transcendent instead. Since the Mirror of the Goddess is capable of physically moving the past, it might be that Kristen physically summoned Pink Bean from the past when he had been the Transcendent of Time. More likely than not, however, all the hints at Pink Bean being a Transcendent sound more like an inside joke to me.